Hey guys, Mr. Biscuit here, and today I'm doing a response video to Dreadlon, who's been doing some really cool videos lately, really interactive with the community, really sort of putting his ideas across in a way that don't start arguments but definitely start good discussion. So a few days ago he asked about people's preference of why they think they chose fiction over factual historical wargaming, and personally, I am a fan of fiction. Although I do both fiction and historical, but historical in a much smaller amount, very occasionally. As you saw from a few videos ago, I've been working on the Burgundians army for Field of Glory. So I think I'm just going to start with sort of why I think I chose fantasy, and then later on I'm going to be talking about some fantasy games and blah blah blah. Sort of my view on the Games Workshop thing. I'm going to try and keep that a bit short though, because I don't really want to start an argument over it. So firstly, let's talk about why I chose fiction over historical wargaming. I believe I chose fiction or fantasy simply because as a child I remember reading The Hobbit and a book called Blart. It's quite a funny book actually, and it's a really short one. I was obsessed with Lord of the Rings. There was a good 6-7 months where I would watch at least one Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings trilogy once a week. So I really loved the fantasy. There's one thing I've got to love beyond everything. Even if I don't play a game, I enjoy reading the lore of a game. I really love futuristic lore and people's views on it. If I ever read books, it will always be a lore that doesn't exist, because quite frankly I do love reading up on historicals. I'm currently reading a book about the Burgundian ordnance and sort of things they did and how they worked, and although I find that interesting, I do like to read the fiction, because to me, I don't know why, it's just immensely interesting to see how people have taken an idea of, so basically like an apocalypse in the future, and changed it in so many different ways. Like Dark Potential from Mini Wargamers really captured me, as it's got one of my favourite settings, sort of a post-apocalyptic skirmish game, and I'll be talking about that a bit later. So I think mainly it's because of books and movies, and nowadays video games that you can play to do with these great fiction things. I mean, as a child I remember dragons were a big thing to me, and they still are. I'm gonna be talking about a game a bit later that involves dragons, which I absolutely love, but I really do love the dragons, and sort of every story that has a dragon to me was really cool. So I'm just going to go on a little bit around here on how this fiction sort of led into wargaming. So when I was much younger, sort of, God, how many years ago was it? Not 10 years ago, maybe, I believe. Yep, about 10 years ago. I was sort of looking around. I was really bored one day, and I found some books of some of the original D&D books, and I found the artwork immensely interesting. I wasn't really bothered about reading rules because I had no idea what it was really. I knew it was a game. I kind of guessed that from pictures of dice and such, but I just remember looking at the pictures and getting really interested by all the cool stuff. And I did read a couple of the stories that were in there about different creatures, kind of thing, and I loved it. So I found out that those books belonged to my uncle. So I talked to my uncle about it, and that was like just one of the first times, because my uncle lives up in North Wales, so I get to see him every now and again. I go and help him at shows. If this is completely off topic, by the way. If you're ever in sort of St Helens area, if there's ever a wargaming show, I'm usually there with my uncle, helping at Ancients and Modern. And that's just something I do. So I went and asked him about it, because I knew he was still into wargaming at the time, and he showed me his sort of base of operations, which is his attic, which is a massive space where he keeps all his personal armies, and then he has sort of a second room where he does all his work. So he was currently setting out painted orders, so there was massive amount of painted armies on a massive table he has, and I got fascinated by it. I got really intrigued by sort of just how amazing things looked, and this triggered me to go and look at wargaming a bit more. So the first thing I did was I got into the Lord of the Rings wargaming because I had that obsession with Lord of the Rings. And I remember the friends I was playing Lord of the Rings with at the time, one of them played 40k, and he brought one of the Dawn of War games over, and there was quite a few of us, so there was about 6 of us, 6 of about the 10 that used to play in our club, and we watched him play Dawn of War, and I got really interested by, again, the story behind each race, because we started from the beginning and they had that sort of 2-minute thing where they split up each race and talk about them a little. I got really interested in it, and we started playing it, and I played Space Marines because I really liked sort of a human, massive, strong race that's been evolved. So that, again, the sort of lore and background of the Space Marines caught me. So I took that, and ever since then I've just been rolling with the fantasy, really enjoying myself with the freedom I had of fantasy over the historical stuff. Although I love painting the historical stuff, I do love sometimes just to have a bit more freedom in what I can do, because historical I try to keep it as true to fact as possible, because my uncle sends me painting schemes every now and again for keeping my army 100% accurate for the time I'm doing it of. So I can keep that accurate. I sort of have to be very attentive, very in the mood to paint those. Well, I can paint fantasy pretty much whenever I want, because you can just mess around with it. So leading on from that, I want to talk about sort of how mini wargaming closing has affected my sort of view on this kind of thing. So at first I was like, okay, I was expecting this. It was only so long until GW started doing this kind of thing, and that's when I put the video up saying I was taking a break from the Grey Knights, and that was generally me saying I'm taking a break from GW altogether. And so I took my Grey Knights out of my display case, put them on the bottom, so I don't really care about them. Although I did enjoy doing the work on them, I didn't want to see them anymore, kind of thing. I didn't want to think that I'd supported a company that had been so sort of evil, and I was thought, it's okay. But they're just doing what a company does at this point, that they're so large that they're just gonna be greedy. It's natural, I guess, it's human, of course. And then Mini Wargamer Dave released a video of Dan leaving Mini Wargaming, and he's going to live somewhere else in Canada, I believe. And I thought, this breaking up of the company has caused friends that have known each other for many years to have to split their ways and go find other things to do. And I thought, I can't support this anymore. There's no way I can possibly think this is a good idea to support this company anymore. So I've completely given up on GW altogether. I'm never going to give up wargaming. I mean, I take breaks. I've taken multiple 6-month breaks from wargaming, but ever since that video, I've just decided I don't want to support it anymore. I may play with my Grey Knights every now and again, just to get sort of my money's worth from them, because they do cost so much. It seemed like a waste not to use them, I guess. But for now, I have no interest in them. So I wanted to talk about what this leads me to, which is the miniatures we have. Sort of pictures of them. You should be seeing some of them by now, which is some great miniatures from cheaper companies where you can get a lot of miniatures for a lot cheaper, and that's great. And before this I would have been like, oh yeah, cheaper, but they're cheaper because it's less quality. But some of the models are absolutely brilliant looking. I've been looking at Pig Iron, Warforged, Eureka models, and I love it. So I'm taking these models and I'm creating. In my last video, I was talking with UK Random, and me and him are developing a skirmish game that we're going to play in our group, and it's going to hopefully be lots of fun, and we're basing it off some 4th and 5th edition 40k rules. We're taking in some parts of fantasy that we think are relevant and other such things, and we're taking the setting from Dark Potential, being a post-apocalyptic world. You can see some pictures of the Dark Potential artwork already, I think, and it looks brilliant. I love that setting so much, is probably why I like playing Fallout games and watching movies like that. So we're taking that and we're creating a game using miniatures from these companies, these smaller companies. So that's what you can be expecting from me in the future, is a look at some Infinity. I know that's quite a big company now, but there's going to be some Infinity, some Mercs, and then some from much smaller companies that, to be honest, I've only just heard of. So I'm going to also talk about Drake. Drake is a Kickstarter at the moment. I believe it's still going, and quite frankly, I love it. Second I saw the video from Drake, which was posted on Facebook by Chung from WCG Consortium, I was hooked because it's about dragons, and again, I have that passion for any game that involves dragons, any movie that involves dragons, and it's a skirmish game. Now, although I've always played mass games, I've always wanted to play more skirmish games, and it's a skirmish game that involves multiple dragons and creatures and big warriors. So I intend to invest in this. I don't know if anyone in my friends group or my gaming group will even play such things, but I'm going to buy it just because I love it. So that's just going to go on with me. So hopefully this has answered Dread's question about why I got into gaming, being mainly sort of, well, childhood implications. I've also talked about, I guess he was talking a lot about the ethical sort of issues with different companies and what I thought about that. Talked about that, haven't I? So I'm just doing sort of checklisting myself here, aren't I? But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've got to say, is that it's been a major inspiration from when I was younger, all the videos and movies and so on. And currently I'm going to be working on some smaller companies, and hopefully this will bring some new things to your eyes and hopefully inspire you to do something yourself. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching and listening to me rant for quite some time. But yeah, go if you haven't already been to Dread's channel, go to Dread's channel, subscribe, because he's doing some really good interactive videos, and I'm sure I'll be leaving more video responses in the future to him, because it's just absolutely brilliant. The guy speaks in such a way that it just portrays his point without starting arguments. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you again next time.